Hi, folks. This is another Thinking Out Loud in slideshow format. Thinking this time about the idea of AI optimizing the self-study industry, learning and development being a self-study marketplace, and what AI might be doing to optimize that and optimize that at great scale. So this is, I suppose, a description of what we've seen in research. It will be a possible future direction from that description, and then maybe I think an outline of something that I think we are missing, and future value, and what we've been missing in the past as well. So anyway, let me get started. So we ran some research and published some AI market assessment papers in the last month or so, which segmented vendor roadmaps into a number of segments. The top two described here from the digital learning analysis. So that's from mainstream features, which are live with over 50% of vendors' customers. So that looked at translation, content translation, transcriptions from content, and the use of synthetic media for content creation. The next wave features here, so that's on 50% or more of vendor roadmaps, but then only live with 25 to 50% of customers. Again, here focus on curation and recommendation, perhaps targeting of content in various manners, intelligent curation, content creation, and design in many different components there. So that's a bit of a summary point. The use of AI for creation of and management of assessments, and the arrival of the AI assistant or coach in some form or other, in the learning experience. So this is an indication, I guess, of where AI roadmap investment is now, and obviously then some sort of possible direction of what might become mainstream from those next wave features in the future. A lot of this is loosely described here, though. It's sort of built on this self-study architecture that so much corporate learning really is focused on. So it's the use of media tools to make the content, the design process managed through authoring and ID tools, then distributed by and assigned by learning systems, assigned again for self-study. So it's really this sort of individual behavior and usage that's being supported and optimized, and obviously kind of highly supercharged, I guess. We're starting to see that with AI. So it's the consumption, completion, pass, fail, the classic, I guess, e-learning experience, which is me and my device in a relatively sealed experience, looking at using some content. I think practice and feedback are arriving at a scale that we hadn't perhaps foreseen before, in the form of those AI assistants or coaches and coaching tools and conversational experiences, etc., which I think is really interesting. And then digital learning becomes much more relevant from a skills point of view. But again, very much a sort of self-study, a solo, an individual experience, and an isolated experience, I think, which I think is something that we need to be careful of. Looking ahead, we might start to see, and I think this is one possible direction. There are many possible directions that AI will take the industry, but there's this sort of opportunity, whether this is or possibility, to create sort of these very highly optimized sort of individual feeds that we'll all be using, that's a kind of dynamic in terms of it uses real-time data about our context, our environment, our roles, etc., our previous behavior, our learning, our goals, what we've achieved, etc. So it's highly attuned to our individual context, of my role and my organization, my challenges, my project, etc. And it's highly personalized. It's what genuinely personalized, not just sort of targeted and segmented, but really for and about me. So we get this sort of something that in a sense, this is what I think the Facebook feed has become. It's the sort of optimized feed of an individual experience that we scroll through. It's not really very connected anymore. It's not really about social experience. It's about, it's about, I guess, in Facebook's instance, keeping us engaged and keeping us in that feed for as long as possible, targeted by AI, and increasingly, engagement designed and created by AI as well. So I'm not suggesting some kind of dystopian future here. I don't mean to be for L&D, but I think there's something interesting about that, this sort of highly optimized, highly targeted, and therefore highly relevant personal experience, but very much a self-study experience still. And I think that's one interesting direction. I think there's something really important that this misses, and that we've been missing, and this is an obvious point really, but we've been missing for a long time in the learning and development world, which is really this sort of facilitation of time together. I think we used to think of facilitation, I guess, as sort of the leadership of the classroom activity. I think there's a big gap now, and perhaps that gap's becoming more important as we get more of this kind of facilitated experience through AI, or optimized experience through AI, to facilitate shared experience, connection, feedback from each other, peer experiences, shared spaces of various different kinds, designed for small groups, large groups, maybe cohorts, even sort of massive populations as well. I think probably the most important thing here is a sense of hosted community and relationships, and I don't think we've done that very well in the past. And there's not a lot of investment focused on that at the moment. The focus is really hugely on the optimization of this self-study experience. And one route for that is this highly efficient, automated stream of learning in that respect. But I think we're missing something really, really important here. And I haven't seen a lot of signals of investment in this sort of facilitation of time together and the building of those relationships and the sustaining and management and hosting of them. I think it's an important gap. I'm interested to know what you think. Are you seeing it out there? Am I missing the point here? Is that something that's taken care of by other functions and other tools? I don't believe it is, and I think there's something significant here that we might be missing. But I'd love to know what you think. Let me know.